Live from Columbia, this is Sports Talk on the South Carolina Radio Network. Be a part of tonight's show. Call us at 800-956-7266 or email talkback@sportstalksc.com. Now, here are your hosts for Sports Talk, Phil Kornbluth, Kevin McCrary, and Tom Hayes.
I feel like just playing together and like having all the guys come together, and we all have the determined spirit that Coach Barnett be talking about all the time. And we can test every round.
I'm happy. I'm happy that he's on our team. I'm happy I get to call myself his coach, and I'm happy that he was rewarded by our peers for his effort.
Well, if Frank Martin is happy, then the whole world has got to be happy. It's not often the big guy walks around with a smile on his face, but he feels good about his basketball team. He feels good about the fact some of his players recognized today by the Southeastern Conference. And he likes the fact that his team is not getting on a bus today heading to Nashville for the SEC tournament, that they don't have to play until Friday, and thus they get to save their legs and be fresh. Yeah, kill the volume on that. That's what I'm trying to tell you, Pro. Trying to signal you that I hear volume coming out of somewhere. Maybe I could be wrong. Maybe I'm hearing voices. All right. Anyway, so Frank Martin talking today about the Gamecocks and getting ready for the SEC tournament, and a few news notes as well from him. Carrera, he'd like to hold Carrera out for the week, he said, but Carrera probably won't let him. They will work him out on Thursday to see how the hip is feeling, and then go from there. I imagine it'll be a game day decision as to whether or not he will play Friday night late. USC has the last game on Friday against either Mississippi State or Georgia. The other item of interest was that he said he did meet with Ray Tanner yesterday, as he normally does. Usually it's when the season is over, but because they had some downtime, they had a meeting yesterday. He said he has seen nothing of an offer. He said he hasn't seen any numbers or years or anything like that. He was responding to a question about the story in the state newspaper that he had been offered a 4-year contract extension. And, you know, he basically said that he said, you know, find out who your sources are on that and ask them, because he said he has seen nothing of a contract offer or any details like that. Now, he might just be, I don't know, he might just be trying to let the process play out as it has to through the university. I know that David Cloninger, who wrote the story, is certainly standing by his information.
Well, that's what I'm saying. Was follow-up question, where has the agent seen it?
No, there was no follow-up question.
Okay, but see, there's my point.
There was no follow-up question to that.
Was it plausible deniability? Agent seen it, but I haven't.
Well, I mean, you know, he met with Tanner yesterday, and you'll hear it. We've got that in his comments coming up, so you'll hear exactly what he had to say.
Oh, you can meet with him and not see him, but that doesn't mean his representation hadn't seen him.
But this is true. This is true. Landry Noko will hear from the Tiger power forward and center. Tigers getting ready for Georgia Tech tomorrow night in the ACC tournament. 2 ACC tournament games in the books. We'll give you the scores coming up. we got time for plenty of your phone calls tonight here on Sports Talk. 800-956-7266 is how you dial us up. Our email, talkback@sportstalksc.com, and on Twitter @SportsTalkSC. Check out the website, which is sportstalksc.com, and on Facebook, Sports Talk Radio Network, inviting your comments, questions, opinions tonight here on Sports Talk. We'll hear from Frank Martin a little bit later on. Here's a preview of the Gamecocks going into SEC Tournament Day. We'll also hear from Clemson center Landry Noko, who, of course, had a tremendous year, especially defensively for the Tigers, and a big reason why they won 10 ACC games. They play Georgia Tech tomorrow night at 7 o'clock. Now, Georgia Tech, one of the hotter teams in the ACC closing out the regular season. They're coming off a nice win in their final game over Pittsburgh, and they had lost the previous game, a close game to Louisville. Had they won that, they would have really finished on a hot stretch. They might have saved Brian Gregory's job. I'm not sure if he's got to win against Clemson and move forward in the ACC tournament a little bit to convince people, or if he has to get to at least the NIT. But they did finish strong at a time when it looked like that was a program dead in the water this season, Pro. They turned it around, and there'll be a formidable challenge for Clemson tomorrow night. Each team won on its home court in the regular season. Clemson has won 12 of the last 14 meetings, but Georgia Tech has beaten Clemson 3 of the 4 times they've played in the ACC tournament. So you can look at all those numbers and say whatever you want to say. Both have dynamic scores. Of course, Jaron Blossom game, first team All-ACC, was outstanding all season long and seemed to get better as the season progressed, and really at one point just took over the Clemson offense when really no one else was contributing. And then for Georgia Tech, of course, their outstanding guard, Marcus Georges-Hunt. He is a dangerous scorer, a guy that can beat you from the outside, but he's got the ability and the size and strength to go to the rim and complete drives. So, and Georgia Tech has some big people inside too. And where Clemson failed against Georgia Tech in the loss in Atlanta was on the boards. They got beat soundly on the boards by Tech that night. So I don't think it's it's certainly no given that Clemson is going to just show up and beat Georgia Tech tomorrow night. K-Mac is on his way to D.C., and he'll join us tomorrow night from the ACC tournament.
Well, the key is keeping Noko out of foul trouble and Jite adding something on the defensive end of the court, because teams like Georgia Tech, yeah, they have a little inside play. However, they're knockout punches from 3. If I'm Clemson, my defensive strategy here is to funnel everybody into the shot blockers. I mean, if a guy Georges-Hunt has an open look from 3, run him off the 3-point line. I don't care if you run right onto his hand, make him drive the basketball. And that's what you have to do with their shooters, because Georgia Tech, they've had success, as you said, down the stretch, because they've really been shooting proficiently from the 3-point line. So run them off the 3-point line. That should be Clemson's mantra tomorrow.
Yeah, they
run them off the 3-point line.
They won 5 of their last 6 to close out the regular season. That included a win at Florida State. Then they beat Notre Dame at home. Then they beat Clemson. They beat Notre Dame by 1. They beat Clemson by 2. They went up to Boston College, won by 5, lost by 3 at Louisville, and then won by 4. They're playing some close games now. Won by 4 at home over Pittsburgh. So a strong finish for Georgia Tech has definitely got them in postseason conversation. At the very least, they'll be NIT. They're 18-13, 8-10 in the league. Very least, they'll be NIT.
Well, you asked the question, and South Carolina recruited him as well. But where would this Georgia Tech team be if Robert Carter Jr. had not transferred?
Yeah,
and of course now he's an integral part of the inside game of a strong Maryland team in the Big Ten, who maybe underachieved a little bit this year with the weaponry they have, but. Yeah, Robert Carter Jr., that may have tipped Georgia Tech in the upper division of the ACC this year.
Yeah, so we're looking forward to a good ball game tomorrow night between Clemson and Georgia Tech. Now today in the ACC, the first 2 games, first game of the day NC State and Wake Forest, and it was a tight ball game. It came right down the last possession. NC State wins it 75-72, and it was Cap Barber with 22 points, 4 rebounds, 6 assists. Devin Thomas, 12 points, 13 rebounds, 3 assists for Wake. Wake finishes the year at 11-20. State is 16-16 and moves on to play Duke tomorrow. The other game of the day, only 2 games today in the opening round of play in the ACC tournament. Basically, these are your play-in games, and Florida State did beat Boston College 88-66. Seminoles are 19-12. Devin Booker, 15 points, 5 rebounds, 4 assists. Eli Carter for BC, 21 points, 3 rebounds, 3 assists. BC 7-25, 0-19 in ACC play. Combine that with their 0-8 ACC football season. Do the math. That's 0-27. And I saw a tweet somewhere where their last ACC win in I guess it was football or basketball was somewhere back in the 2015 calendar year. That's tough times up there when you go winless in football and basketball in the league. First time that's ever happened in I think in ACC play. That's the first time it's ever happened.
Let's face it, ostensibly Boston College went to the ACC because of the football move. We know that's why they went. And it really hurt them sitting in the middle of what then was Big East country trying to recruit to the ACC. That really put them several steps back. And now the reconstituted Big East, which is made up of all Catholic schools plus Butler, they'd fit in that league right away, but they want football, and so they're in the ACC. And it's going to be a tough sledding. But Phil, in the ACC tournament, I think the 2 most dangerous teams, even though they'll be a little bit tired, have won today. We can say even at 19 wins, Florida State underachieved this year, and NC State sorely underachieved this year. But both teams, you have rosters that can blow up in your face at any time. So Duke, watch your back.
Now, the freshman for NC State today, Maverick Rowan, who had such a good game against Clemson in Raleigh, had 17 second-half points. I think he finished with 23 and had a stretch there where he turned the game with his three-point shooting. He's a dynamic three-point shooter. And, Duke is for the taking. They got hammered on the boards by North Carolina on Saturday in that loss. And, let's face it, with Duke, if they're not knocking down threes, then they're there for the taking. NC State will be much bigger and stronger inside than Duke will be. It's just a matter of can they match them with some shots. The Clemson-Georgia Tech winner gets Virginia on Thursday. And as I mentioned, Florida State, maybe I didn't mention this, Florida State moves ahead to play Virginia Tech. Virginia Tech, another hot team. Another hot team. Another hot team. Finished up their season very strong. Got a nice win on Saturday. So that should be a very good game. The last game of the day, you have North Carolina, Notre Dame, Virginia, and Miami waiting on the pretenders to get to the contender round, which is also known as the quarterfinals. Remember now, the championship game for the ACC's on Saturday night at 9 o'clock. They took over the old Big East.
Right, exactly.
Old Big East time slot, which was, that was a terrific arrangement that they had. The ACC tournament semifinals on a Saturday and the Big East championship game on Saturday night. That was because they play the ACC semifinals at 1 and 3, and then you have the Big East championship game. When the Big East was the Big East, you'd have that game on Saturday night. That was terrific TV viewing. The SEC tournament, of course, will get underway on Wednesday with its play-in games, and of course, South Carolina, as we mentioned, will play in the final game on Friday night. 800-956-7266 is the number. Yeah, the SEC tournament begins tomorrow with an 8 o'clock game, Tennessee and Auburn. Can Auburn repeat its magical run from last year? Probably not.
Nope.
Then on Thursday, it's Arkansas, Florida. The Tennessee-Auburn winner plays Vandy. Alabama plays Ole Miss. And Mississippi State and Georgia play the last game. And so you've got Texas A&M, Kentucky, USC, and LSU, the contenders waiting for the pretenders. By the way, the SEC awards came out today as voted on by the coaches. And from USC, Michael Carrera, he makes first team all SEC. All defensive team is Sindarius Thornwell. Sixth man of the year is Dwayne Notice. Coach of the year is Billy Kennedy. And the player of the year is Tyler Ulis. He was also the defensive player of the year. Ben Simmons, freshman of the year. Scholar athlete is Retin Obasahan. And we'll give you the rest of the first team, all SEC team coming up in a little bit. To your phone calls, 800-956-7266. Mike in Newberry, welcome in to Sports Talk on this Tuesday. How are you?
Bill, I'm doing good. I have a quick question on men's basketball for you. I don't understand why South Carolina, being the number 3 seed, is playing the last game. What is it, Thursday?
Friday night.
Last game on Friday, yeah.
Okay, why are they playing the last game being the number 3 seed? What time's the number 4 seed game played? Number 4 seeded team playing their game?
Well, they're playing the second game of the afternoon, so their game will tip about, 1 o'clock. I got to convert Central Time. So 1 o'clock Eastern is the first game, about 3:30 Eastern Time for the second game. That's LSU.
Yeah, well, I don't understand why they're getting more rest than what we are.
Well, it's probably,
If they win.
I'm thinking, I don't know. Kentucky is sitting in the 7 o'clock slot. So I'm wondering, did they want Kentucky playing at night?
Yes.
Well, that means if you play Kentucky, to keep the pairings right, you've got to have because you got Kentucky's the number 2 seed and A&M's the 1 seed, so you got to have them in separate day parts. Now, how does that explain South Carolina going last, the 3 going last, and 4? Well, I guess you want the 2-3 would have to play.
Yeah.
So South Carolina's got to be bracketed with Kentucky.
Right.
So if they're going to put Kentucky
at night,
then South Carolina's going to have to go at night. If it's a television decision, then that's the answer that I can give you.
Mm-hmm. Okay, well, it just didn't make a lot of sense to me, and in fairness, being number 3 versus number 4.
Well, in case, and if I will tell you this, if I'm Frank Martin, if I want Carrera to play in this game, you want him to have much time with that hip as possible, so the last game maybe works in their favor on that score. However, if I'm Frank Martin and I know I'm in the tournament, I don't play Carrera this weekend. I don't.
But they don't know they're in the tournament. I'll tell you why. Jerry Palm today, he still has, even though he's got them in the tournament, as he was breaking down the individual tournaments, who's definitely in and who's definitely on the bubble in that individual tournament to get into the tournament, he's got the Gamecocks on that bubble. He does not have them in the tournament breakdown.
Jerry Palm does not like South Carolina. He started the year saying he didn't like them. That's why he's got him on the bubble.
All right, following up on Mike's question, I think we've figured it out, and that is the number 1 seed plays the first game on Friday.
Mm-hmm.
And because we checked with the records from last year, Kentucky was the number 1 seed last year, and they played the first game on Friday.
Mm-hmm.
And so the number 1 seed is going to be paired against the number 4 seed in the bracket. So the number 4 seed would have to play in that second game. And then in your evening session, you would have your number 2 seed playing in the first game and your number 3 seed playing in the second game.
That's correct.
That's how they're paired up in the bracket, and thinking that 2 will play 3 eventually if everything goes by chalk. 2 will play 3 and 1 will play 4. So that's it. No conspiracy, no TV conspiracy there. You should have jumped in and corrected me on that.
No, I wouldn't have known.
Oh, you didn't
I mean,
know.
because I think they love to have Kentucky
At night?
at night.
Yeah, yeah. Speaking of Kentucky, I mean, they're going to have a ton of people there. It's the Kentucky Invitational, the SEC tournament. You could play this thing on Mars, and it wouldn't matter. There'd be 18,000 Kentucky fans there.
We can recall when Kentucky came in there with a crowd, and that was the night when Tony Kitchings went off and beat Kentucky. Kentucky can be had even if Big Blue Nation is in the arena. In fact, let's face it, there are those rare kids who like to play on the road to shut the crowd up.
It's got to be tough, though. I mean, when you're playing Kentucky, and Frank Martin, you won't hear this in our segment because it was later it was his last question of the presser, which went about 25 minutes. But he was asked about how the other coaches deal with going to the Kentucky Invitational, knowing that whoever has to play Kentucky, it's like a road game in terms of the crowd. And he was saying, he pointed out that as a high school coach, he sent a couple of players to Kentucky. One helped them win a national championship, and another was a big-time player for them. He wasn't sure if they won 2 national championships with his guys. But he was suggesting to the Kentucky fans that on Friday they root for South Carolina, that they get behind Frank Martin and the Gamecocks because of his help in getting Kentucky at least 1 national championship. But on Saturday, should both of them win, and on Saturday they meet in the semifinals, that arena will be almost all blue. Now, there could be, if Vanderbilt continues to play well and gets into the semifinals and beyond, I would imagine there'd be a lot of Vanderbilt people trying to get in there and get tickets too. The problem is, each school is given the same number of tickets to sell. But Kentucky fans, they know that South Carolina's not going to bring a lot of fans. So they get over here and buy these tickets. And they know that Missouri's not getting any tickets. They think about the lower echelon teams, the teams that don't have fans that travel well for basketball. They get in there and try and buy those tickets. Then they get in the secondary market, buy up those tickets, and anybody walking out after a loss is going to run into a Kentucky fan looking for tickets.
And they will pay a lot of money.
Yeah.
There's only, let's face it, in the SEC, and let's face it, there are a lot of people that talk about the fervor of the ACC, and that's been perfected over time, and because of the provincialism of the conference, which is no longer there because it stretches all the way from near Buffalo, New York, down to Miami. But in the SEC, the only fan base when they're going well that will stick with Kentucky is Arkansas. And when they get good again, watch. But it's been a tough road since Nolan Richardson left, and they have not been the same, and their fan fervor is not there yet. But Arkansas is the one fan base that really is turned on by basketball and will do those subtle things, jump through hoops like Kentucky fans to get secondary tickets.
I can remember when the SEC tournament was in the Georgia Dome and Arkansas was good, and they played Kentucky in the SEC championship game or the semifinals. They would have nearly as many fans there as Kentucky. You're right. They traveled extremely well.
And there would be another game going on with 2 other teams, and each other's crowd yelling each other's down, and they're not even playing.
Oh, yeah. I mean, that's the kind of fan following they have. And, I've often wondered why in South Carolina's case, especially with baseball. Now, maybe it's because of the schedule of baseball midweek and all that. When the Gamecocks were dominating the SEC tournament in Hoover, they wouldn't have many fans in the stands. Mississippi State would have a large number. Of course, I get that. It's only a couple of hours from Hoover. I get that. I understand that. But these other programs, they seem to find a way. Arkansas would always have a good contingent there. They would find these other LSU's a pretty good ride. They would always have. And my point is, if you want to be a program like in baseball, like LSU or Mississippi State, in terms of the fan support, you got to step up and support them even when they're not playing at home. Same thing in basketball. I would think this South Carolina team, with the season they've had, deserves a full contingent of USC fans in the stands on Friday night. I mean, you'll have the arena practically to yourself. It's because everybody's going to be cleared out when the Gamecocks play either Mississippi State or Georgia. Now there'll be some Kentucky fans hanging around, because that's what they do. They come early and they stay late.
But there won't be that many, because since they play the first game, I doubt they sit through the nighttime session.
They'll be trying to find a honky tonk somewhere. But, there should be I don't want to tell people what to do. It is a Friday night. So, you've got the weekend. It's not like you've got to go to Nashville on Wednesday. Now you've got Friday. There should be a full contingent of South Carolina fans there to support this team that has really gone beyond expectations, and there's no reason not to think that they can't win on Friday and get into Saturday and try and do something. Now it would help to have Carrera healthy and ready to go, yet they proved at Arkansas that they could rise above and still play excellent basketball without him. Maybe played some of their best basketball the past few weeks in that Arkansas game when they built that 27-point lead. So we'll hear from Frank Martin coming up a little bit later. If you want to join us, 800-956-7266, the number, and our email, talkback@sportstalksc.com. It's Sports Talk, coming to you from downtown Columbia, Main Street, Columbia. Of course, we are the Sports Talk show of Main Street, South Carolina. I want to remind you that whether you are a part of Gamecock Nation or you bleed Clemson Orange, everyone can agree on Founders Federal Credit Union, with a convenient location at the Russell House on USC's campus and a new location, which is on Highway 93 in Clemson, coming soon. Founders is a sure fan favorite. Visit RelaxJoinFounders.com to see if you qualify for membership. Founders Federal Credit Union is federally insured by NCUA. Baseball tonight. South Carolina is at home against Wofford. That first pitch coming up at 7 o'clock. USC's 10-2. Wofford is 10-3. Pitching matchup tonight, couple of freshmen. Adam Hill for USC, 2-0. He's not allowed an earned run. Austin Higginbottom for Wofford. He's a left-hander. He's 0-1 with a 1.69 ERA. South Carolina seeking to bounce back from the 2 losses over the weekend to Clemson. We'll see how they respond. We'll see what kind of lineup that Chad Holbrook trots out there tonight. It's got to be humbling for South Carolina to lose again to Clemson, back-to-back years now. They've lost to the series to Clemson, and after getting off to the great start, it reminds me of what Chad Holbrook said earlier in the year when they were getting off to the great start. He reminded everyone that they started 17-3 last year and went on to miss the NCAA tournament. So it's not the start that matters. In South Carolina, they've got to prove that they can hit quality pitching throughout the weekend. They really did not prove that against Clemson. They did have a good night on Friday, but nothing over the weekend. And they've got SEC coming up, and their hitters appear to be much better than what they showed this past weekend against Clemson. Maybe Clemson's pitching was just that strong. Back in a moment. Okay, we're back at Sports Talk, South Carolina Radio Network. 800-956-7266 is our number if you want to join in on the program. Here on a Tuesday night from downtown Columbia, Phil Kornblut and the Professor Tom Hayes with you. Larkin Belton once again behind the bulletproof glass. Lines are open. 800-956-7266 is the number. Let me update a few other things. We talked about the All-SEC team. Coastal Carolina is going to the postseason. The school announced today that they have accepted a bid to the collegeinsider.com postseason tournament and will host a first-round game on Tuesday. The opponent has not been determined. Tip-off will be at 7 o'clock. This will be Coastal's 6th postseason appearance in the last 7 years. And they are 18-11 and had a disappointing quick exit from the Big South tournament. So this is something that you have to I think you pay your way into this. I think the schools have to pony up to get into this sort of thing. But it's an opportunity to play some more basketball, compete in a tournament, and win a championship. News from the Florida Gator football team opening up spring practice, and they will be without quarterback Treon Harris and receiver Antonio Callaway. Coach Jim McElwain said today they've been away from the team since January. They're not saying why they are suspended. It's not clear, this story says, whether they're being punished by the university or the football program. The two are enrolled for the spring semester. There is no timetable for the return. The Gators open spring practice tomorrow. Harris has been suspended twice since he's been at Florida. According to Gainesville police, campus police, and court records, neither player appeared to be the subject of a criminal investigation. They could, however, be suspended while under investigation by the Student Conduct Committee for a code of conduct violation. So anyway, they're all speculating down there at Florida about why these two guys are suspended and not available for the start of spring practice. That All-SEC first team, let me give that to you. I mentioned that Michael Carrera is on it. All-SEC first team, Obasa Han from Alabama, Jamal Murray from Kentucky, Tyler Eulis from Kentucky, Ben Simmons, LSU, Stephon Moody from Ole Miss, Jalen Jones from A&M, and Damian Jones from Vanderbilt. That's your first team. All right, back to the phones we go. And it is Tiger Bryan up in Lancaster. Welcome into Sports Talk. By the way, I received an email today from a listener reminding me, telling me, chiding me that Indian Land is not related to Fort Mill. It's more related to Lancaster. It's in Lancaster County. Fort Mill is in York County. People get upset up there, Tiger Bryan, if you don't say Indian Land's in Lancaster County. At least I properly say Lancaster and not Lancaster, as a lot of knuckleheads do. Tiger Bryan, what's on your mind?
Yeah, hey, I'll tell you what, Cornbread, you do a good job. I don't care if you say Lancaster or Lancaster. You know what I mean?
Thank you. Thank you.
I want to say, tell on pride, I don't like that old boy. I mean, I don't like South Carolina either, but I still got to pull for my homeboy out here last go, Thurwell. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
For South Carolina, I'm Tiger Man. I'm Tiger Bryan. I'm pulling for homeboy. Yeah.
He's had a very good year and had a great game on Saturday. They need him to play big. When he plays big, I mean, he's the kind of guy that can really, with the other guys complimenting him, he's the kind of guy that can have big games and help you win these big games. I mean, this is the time of year when your best players have really got to shine. It's as simple as that. In South Carolina, to do well, they got to have big games from Thornwell and Carrera and nice complimentary game from Notice and Cavicius has got to rebound and everybody's just got to do their job. Just like at Clemson, if they get Blossom game, if he has his normal big game and he gets some help from some other guys like they did on Saturday in the win at Boston College, Grantham stepped up and finally put together kind of a complete game. They can win some games in the ACC tournament.
All right, I got one more question for you, Cornblue.
But as a Tiger fan, do you really care? Are you more concerned about the starting left guard
Yes.
in spring football practice, Tiger Bryant, or the ACC tournament? Really?
No, I'm talking about football. That guy we got from Tennessee, the running back. Is he the real deal?
Real deal. Real. Hey, Tiger Bryant, Clemson just won the basketball national championship, but your starting left guard is still up for grabs in spring practice.
That's what I'm worried about.
All right, thanks for the phone call. We'll be right back. Coming up, the recruiting report here on Sports Talk. A reminder from South Carolina Forestry Commission, insects and diseases, they can be moved hundreds of miles in firewood and threaten our forests, favorite campsites, neighborhoods, state and national parks. Help protect the trees you love by purchasing firewood at or near where you burn it. For more information, visit don'tmovefirewood.org. Recruiting now. Defensive back, Jamias Williams, Roswell, Georgia. Frequent visitor to Clemson, was back Saturday. Wasn't there for junior day, but an unofficial to watch spring practice, talk more with Sweeney and the defensive staff. Said it was good to watch and see how the coaches interact. And he said that they were just telling him the way it is with Clemson and recruiting, and to come in and work and go in there and compete for a spot. He's also been to USC, Tennessee, Florida State in recent weeks. He said the Gamecock coaches have been working him a lot since he was there last month. He said they really want him, and they want him to come back for a visit. And he said that I think I can see myself there. He said, I really like the Gamecocks. He said, I wouldn't call them my favorite because I'm still wide open, but he says he likes Travaris Robinson and what he has done with past DBs. Looking to visit Auburn March 26th. He's added offers from Virginia Tech and Southern Cal in recent weeks. Union County receiver Shi Smith told us last night it's now USC as his favorite. Clemson had been his favorite, but the Tigers aren't contacting him very much anymore. But USC is on him very strongly, and he now has the Gamecocks as his current favorite ahead of Alabama. He had actually planned to go to Clemson's junior day last Saturday, but couldn't make it in. But he said the Tigers are still in his thinking. He plans to visit USC over spring break, and Alabama wants him to visit as well. He has not added any new offers recently. USC, Clemson, North Carolina, Tennessee, Alabama, NC State, Kentucky are his big ones. And Oklahoma, I should add Oklahoma. They popped up on the screen recently with him, with Steve Spurrier Jr. now there, and they offered him early this morning, late last night. As for USC, he says Muschamp keeps in touch with him almost daily and telling him the role he would play and things like that. Quarterback Jake Bentley, Opelika, Alabama, went to Alabama today unofficially, was offered by Nick Saban. USC has been the only other visit he's taken in recent weeks. He'll be in Spartanburg Thursday to visit with family, but is not visiting USC on that trip. Defensive end Michael McDaniel, Loganville, Georgia, expected to choose either USC or Georgia now. He visits USC March 19th, decision soon after. Offensive lineman Kendall Randolph, Madison, Alabama, offered today by USC. Receiver J.J. Robinson of Lakeland, Florida, tells Scout Clemson is the current leader over Oklahoma, Florida, and Ohio State. 2018 defensive back Deshaun Jerkins was at Clemson on Saturday. No offer from the Tigers yet. North Carolina, NC State, and Maryland have offered. And Old Dominion offered Ridgeview offensive lineman Cameron Muller. There you go with recruiting here on a Tuesday night. We'll be back.
Live from Columbia, this is Sports Talk on the South Carolina Radio Network. Be a part of tonight's show. Call us at 800-956-7266 or email talkback@sportstalksc.com. Now, here are your hosts for Sports Talk, Phil Kornbluth, Kevin McCrary, and Tom Hayes.
And we're back, Sports Talk, South Carolina Radio Network. Good to have you with us here on a Tuesday night. Phil Kornbluth, the professor, Tom Hayes. K-Mac is on his way to D.C. He'll join us tomorrow night from the ACC tournament. I'll be heading to Nashville Thursday for the SEC tournament and USC's participation beginning on Friday. We're going to hear from Frank Martin coming up here in just a few minutes, so stay tuned for that. Let's jump back to the phones as we go to Danny in Florence next up here on Sports Talk. Danny, welcome in. How you doing?
Hey, Phil, I hadn't talked to you in a while. I just heard something tonight I just wanted to comment on. I remember last year, you and Pro, you probably don't remember this, but y'all predicted that Duke would lose to Virginia and Charlottesville, which they did not, and then these teams and if I hadn't watched the game, I would have thought Duke lost to North Carolina by double digits, not 4 points. And if these teams like Florida State and NC State, are so, if they're going to beat Duke and it's a foregone conclusion, how come Duke's record's better?
Well, first of all, it was a relatively close game. The only thing I said about Saturday's game was that North Carolina pounded Duke on the glass. Didn't they out-rebound them some ridiculous number? I don't have it right in front of me. I think I saw in the newspaper, though, it was some outlandish number. They killed them on the boards. And it goes back to my comment and my thinking that Duke's not particularly strong inside. And if they're not hitting the threes, then they can be taken. That's all I was saying. If they're not hitting their outside shots, they do have.
It's a 4-point game.
Yeah, it was. Now, it was, as I remember, I was traveling back from the baseball game and listening to it. And I think North Carolina, I know it finished up being a 4-point game. Didn't Duke have to hit some threes there late to kind of give themselves a chance, but never really. No, I guess they did have the ball late with a chance to tie, didn't they?
Well, and they did beat them once,
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I know they beat them in Chapel Hill. Yeah.
And,
So what are we arguing here? I'm not arguing that Duke can't win the tournament. I'm just saying that NC State, which is big and physical inside, if they're playing well, as I saw them beat Clemson, they can beat Duke up inside. And if Duke isn't making shots, we might not be having this conversation.
How did Duke beat NC State when they played earlier this year?
I don't know. You tell me. I didn't see it.
I don't know, but I know they won.
Well, here's the point. You're listening through Duke ears, because what we're saying
of course he is.
Hold it. When you look at Florida State's roster and NC State's roster, we were saying they're underachieved. But these are two rosters that can explode in your face, just like Notre Dame exploded in Duke's face last year.
All right, thanks for your phone call. We will hear from Frank Martin coming up in a moment. All right, USC Wofford, they are scoreless. Bottom of the first inning. Frank Martin coming up in just a moment. Here on Sports Talk, as we continue from our studios in downtown Columbia, I want to remind you that you can score big with Founders Federal Credit Union. Founders has convenient office locations on the campus of USC and a new location coming soon to Clemson, plus ATMs on the campuses of Clemson, Converse, Limestone, PC, USC Lancaster, Winthrop, and York Tech. Be sure to visit foundersfcu.com for a full listing and to find an ATM or office near you. Not a member? Visit relaxjoinfounders.com to see if you qualify for membership. Founders Federal Credit Union, federally insured by NCUA. Frank Martin, press conference early today, previewing USC's upcoming SEC tournament appearance Friday night.
I don't know about any guarantee until, Sunday night. Sunday nights, when you find out, I'll say this. If winning 24 games, 11 BCS conference games, finishing third in a BCS conference is not good enough to get into an NCAA tournament, I need to go back to bouncing. And I don't say that jokingly. I mean that seriously. It's but there's only one way you guarantee to win the postseason, and that's win your regular season conference championship, or figure out a way to play Saturday night and win. Outside of that, there's no guarantees. Do we feel good about what we've done? Absolutely. I can't think of too many teams in the country that can claim that they have won 9 games away from their home building. But it is what it is. We regular season's over with. I'm so proud of our guys for what they did, how they fought, how they grew, how they answered the bell. We never went on a losing streak, which is what kills a season. We fought and fought and fought. Right in the crucial part of the year, our team got hit with the flu, and it's unbelievable. It's just. What can we get hit with the flu in November or December? We get hit with the flu in the home stretch, and that impacted our guys. But you know what? They rallied the troops. They figured out a way to stay the course, and that's why now these 2 days off so important for our guys, because those last 3 games, they stressed our guys, not just mentally but physically. They were real taxing. So it's. I got a feeling from texting and stuff with them that they're excited for our practice time.
Regardless of who you play, it's a team that has handled you recently. So how do your players kind of approach the idea of, if it's like Georgia, they beat you twice, Mississippi State just beat you down there, but a team that has beaten you the last time you faced them?
Well, if they've beaten us 25-25, Phil, then we'd be trying to figure out how to change everything we're doing. We're up 63-60. And what, 4 minutes to go, 3 minutes to go in the Georgia game. And let me plead the fifth on that game right now, because there's a lot of things about that game that if I speak on, I'm going to get in a lot of trouble for, which I've made my peace with the people I need to make it with. But, they're old, they're physical, they're big. And they're big. They don't have 2 7-footers, but they got 2 6'9", 240-pound guys, and they got big, strong, old guards. And, that's Georgia, and they're a good basketball team. And obviously, we were down 2 over there, 6 minutes to play in the game, and we had a lead with 3 minutes to play in the game here, and we weren't able to close out either one. Then Mississippi State here, we won by double figures, and down there they were up double figures pretty much the whole second half. So we'll see. It's brand new season. All that, last year we beat Georgia with 6.5 players and dominated them at home, and then they beat us in the conference tournament. So it's, we'll see. We'll see what happens. This time of year, you're not worried about what happened in January and February anymore. It's brand new season. And everyone's excited, and you take on the next challenge in front of you, and you trust in who you've become over the course of the year. And winning and losing during the year becomes irrelevant at this time of year.
You talked about leading into the season that Dwayne didn't care what role you gave him. He just was going to do the best for y'all. And obviously, how nice is it in that regard to see him reach 1,000 points in the last game and then get named Sixth Man of the Year today?
Yeah, I'm so proud of him. It's you've heard me say this many times. He's a stud. You know, in a day and age where most folks in his age group, they're concerned with me. He's one of the guys that's concerned with we, and it's I'm real happy for him because I never told him, Dwayne, you know, let's bring you off the bench and make you the Sixth Man of the Year. I think that's selfish. I think that would be a ploy on a selfish trick to get him to do what I wanted him to do. That was never part of the conversation. He did it for what's best for this team based on what I thought. That says a lot about him. And then for him to accept his role and to play the way he did to help the third best team in the conference, I'm glad he was rewarded for being the selfless person that he is. It's he's I'll say it again, he's a stud. He's a kid that he's all about the right things, or he's about all the right things. And I'm happy. I'm happy that he's on our team. I'm happy I get to call myself his coach, and I'm happy that he was rewarded by our peers for his efforts.
Franco, with Michael, how are you guys going to handle him this week? Do you think he could practice? And, you know, I realize you probably won't make a call until Friday, but how much will the extra rest help him for this weekend next?
Yeah, we're not going to have him do anything probably till we'll see about tomorrow. I doubt it. Probably try something Thursday. My plan is for him to rest this week. That's my selfish plan. But I'm not the good man upstairs. I don't control healing. That's up to everyone's body. And like I said the other day, if he feels where he can play, he's going to want to fight me if I don't let him play. And I'm getting too old to fight. But that's, there's my plan, there's his plan, and then there's God's plan. His plan is to play on one leg. My plan is we got to protect him. And then there's God's plan, which, that's the one that we just got to follow and let the healing process take place.
Report that you have a contract extension through 2022. Just want to get your thoughts on getting that done, apparently.
Whoever reported that, you need to go ask that guy that. I got no idea. I had a conversation with Ray Tanner yesterday morning. It's the first one I have. I have whoever's leaking that story, you guys need to go find him and ask him those questions. I got no idea where that's coming from. I'm excited that Ray Tanner asked, like every year when the season's over, I meet with Ray Tanner. For the last 3 years, I've met with him as soon as the conference tournament was over. This year, like we didn't play till Friday and we were off Sunday and Monday. He said, Frank, can we meet Monday? I said, absolutely. I'm doing nothing. I'm bored. If I stay home, my wife's going to hate me. So let's do something productive. And we visited on all topics that we visit on. And that came up. And I'm happy that he brought it to me for me to start figuring out the future. I'm ecstatic about it. But I had no idea that there's an offer on the table. So whoever the source is, they need to ask that person to reveal, because obviously there were numbers and everything in that report, and I know Dave wrote it. They need to ask that person because I'm not aware of it. I haven't seen. How can I agree to something I haven't seen, Phil?
Okay, Frank Martin from his press conference earlier today. We'll be right back. All right, coming up, we'll hear from Clemson's Landry Noko. Also, a little bit more from Clemson football, though the Tigers aren't practicing today. Over at Founders Park, USC has taken a 1-0 lead on Wofford. They've gone to the top of the second inning. Gamecocks scoring a run in the bottom of the first with Dom Thompson-Williams singling to second base with the RBI to get the run in. So Gamecocks lead at 1-0 going to the top of the second. Some other college baseball today in the SEC. North Florida leading Florida 2-1. That's in the bottom of the fourth. Vanderbilt leading Radford 10-3, bottom of the sixth. And let's see. In the ACC, Louisville over Longwood 10-1. North Carolina, that's in the ninth. North Carolina beats Gardner-Webb 11-5. NC State beats Fairfield 4-2. Maine and Miami are tied at 1. It's in the fourth. And Florida State leading South Florida 1-0. That's in the third. And I do not like this scoreboard. I do not like this scoreboard. I'm going on record here saying I do not like this scoreboard. Georgia Tech and Auburn are 1-1, top of the fifth. And this should only be giving me – why do I have all these other scores? This is what's confusing me. Oh, I see why. Oh, I see. It jumped back to top 25 from the ACC filter that I had in it. Yeah, it's all, it's, this internet thing is never going to make it. Wake Forest leading Coastal Carolina 8-0, top of the seventh. Coastal all of a sudden hitting a bit of a slide here. They lost over the weekend to Cincinnati, and they lost to Ole Miss. They did beat Ball State, but now they're being shut out by Wake Forest 8-0. That's in the top of the seventh. Campbell leading Virginia Tech 3-0. And that is in the bottom of the sixth. Okay, let's see what else we've got involving state teams today. It's a slower process than it used to be. I don't like it. Too many clicks. The fewer the clicks, the better. Western Carolina leading Presbyterian 10-9, top of the ninth. Also in the ninth, Asheville and Furman, they are tied at 6. Is that everybody? Nope. Charleston Southern leading North Carolina Central 8-1, top of the fourth. Okay, that's it from the Big South. Take a look at the SoCon and see what they've got going on today. And then I think we'll be done with the baseball scoreboard. Used to be nice and simple and easy when somebody, a baseball fan, stood the college baseball scoreboard. And, of course, they had to sell it to D1 baseball, and they get all complicated here with links and stories and advertisements. Upstate and the Citadel tied at 1, top of the fifth. Far be it from me to complain about advertising for your product. That's it. I think we've covered all the games that we can get our hands on here. Coming up, Clemson's Landry Noko, the Tigers, to play Georgia Tech tomorrow night in the ACC tournament. We'll have that for you coming up in a moment.
We want information. Information. Information.
Back on Sports Talk, presented by South Carolina's 529 College Savings Plan. Future Scholar is the smart way to save for a loved one's education, and tax time is a perfect time to invest. Visit futurescholar.com. Future Scholar is administered by the Office of State Treasurer Curtis Loftus over at USC. They continue with baseball, bottom of the second, 1-0. The Gamecocks on top of Wofford. Time to welcome in, as we do on Tuesdays during NASCAR season, Chip Wild, president of Darlington, after this past weekend's race out at Las Vegas. Good evening, sir. How are you?
Phil, how are you, my man?
Man, doing outstanding. What'd you think of Sunday's event?
Well, I mean, again, 2 weeks into this new rules package and two, I think, really stellar races. It was a strategy game out there. Had to battle not only the wind, but a two-tire gamble at the end of the race by Kyle Busch didn't pay off. But again, I think it speaks to this new package, 4 tires, managing your stuff. Brad Keselowski got by him with 8 to go. An exciting race. I think we'll continue to see and talk about this through the rest of the season.
Yeah, I kind of, like these races where a guy's got the lead, but something is just not right with his car, and another car is coming like a bullet, and this was the case. You could see it happening, and Busch, unfortunately, had some sort of vibration. I think it was his right front. And do you think that was created the last pit stop when they just went with the 2 tires, and that resulted in the vibration?
Well, what I've learned with drivers is they complain.
Yeah.
And they took 2 left side tires. So the right sides had almost 100 laps on them, which will cause a vibration. But when you see a car in your rearview mirror that's going faster than you, you have every reason why you're not as quick. That's what drivers do. But again, I think it speaks to the strategy and this new format. If you looked at the package we had last year, the leader had a clear advantage with clean air. Everybody always talks about clean air is worth a lot. Clean air isn't worth as much. And in fact, it's probably not worth anything anymore. The 2 car knew they were good on a long run. They put 4 fresh Goodyear tires on it before that on that last pit stop. And he was able to make his way up. He managed his tires, had something left in the tank at the end of the race, and that's what got him the victory. And this is what the drivers want, Phil. They want the ability to have control. They want the ability to manage their stuff and fight for the win. And certainly that paid dividends for Brad Keselowski on Sunday afternoon.
And 3 races, 3 different winners. Is this going to be one of those years where we see victory spread out amongst many drivers and many teams?
Well, I mean, 3 different victories, 3 different drivers, 3 different manufacturers.
Yeah.
Which I think is an even cooler statistic. Usually one manufacturer comes out of the gate really strong. The other 2 seem like they have to play catch up. Doesn't seem like that's the case this year. Yeah, I do believe there'll be a lot more winners this year. It really has evened the playing field, and it's going to be a fun year. I mean, the first 3 races have really had really great results. All 3 have been exciting races to watch. And I think we'll continue to see it. And this weekend will be a great segue because this will be the first time they really go to a track that's less than 1.5 miles out of Phoenix. So it'll be fun to watch, see how good they do out there.
Mm-hmm. And that track's a little flatter as well. I think that will play into the handling consequences and putting the race even more in the driver's hands.
Yeah, absolutely. It's a mile-long racetrack. Got a unique configuration with a dog leg on the backstretch. One of those kind of races that you do need to manage your equipment. The racetrack's old and worn out, and you will wear tires out in a hurry. So it certainly has been Kevin Harvick's playground the last couple of years. Certainly that'll be the guy we're all looking to win the race. But, it's really anybody's game at this point. This new package truly has even the playing field, and it's made it fun to watch.
All right. Chase Elliott, after the hot start, caught up in an accident, and so he's seen the other side of life in NASCAR. You can be riding high one weekend and then finish next to last the next weekend.
Yeah, you're only as good as your last finish. Had a great run in Atlanta, finishing in the top 10. and looked like he was on the way to another top 10 finish, but unfortunately got caught up with the 20 of Matt Kenseth and it ruined his day. The guy that I thought had a great run, another young rising star, is Ryan Blaney, driving for the Woods brothers.
Yeah.
His dad raced for us. Dave Blaney raced for us at Bill Davis Racing for years. I've watched that kid grow up, and he was in the shop at 6 years old. And he's going to be somebody we're going to continue to talk about. Ryan, Chase, those guys are going to be in one heck of a battle all year for Rookie of the Year. And I think it'll be a fun battle to watch. Both those guys certainly are going to be superstars in our sport, and people will talk about for years to come.
And a good finish by Austin Dillon, too, coming in 5th.
Yeah, RCR really has had a nice start to the season with Austin Dillon finishing well this last weekend, and Paul Menard having a great run the weekend before. And last year was a subpar year for RCR, not something they're used to, and I think it seems like they've worked hard in the offseason to find some speed, and it looks like they have early in the season.
All right, did you get us unblocked by Dale Jr. so I can start to DM him?
No, I haven't talked to him yet. They're all out on the West Coast for the next couple of weeks. But don't worry, Phil. I'm working my magic, and I'm going to try to figure out why he's blocked you. I can't figure out why you made him so mad.
It's probably K-Mac. It wouldn't be me. It'd be K-Mac. Yeah. What's happening over at your place? The egg-shaped oval, kind of resting and waiting for something big. You got some things coming up.
Yeah, we do. We actually had about 1,800 people on the property last weekend doing a 5K. Really fun event that we put on for the last couple of years. The next big event we have is the half marathon called Run Darlington. So we put it on. It runs all the way through downtown Darlington and around the 5 historic districts in Darlington, and then starts and finishes on the start-finish line. It's a great event. April 30th, if you're a runner, really easy course, so it's good for a first-time half marathoner. We'll also have a little fun run around the racetrack and a 5 and a 10K. So really geared up for that. And this is kind of the start of our season. We have a lot of little events that go on between now and the race that all require a little bit of attention. But there's a lot of activity. We've had some great meetings over the last 30 days, Phil, with race teams. I think this year's throwback is going to be bigger and better than last year. In fact, I know it will. Darlington is back, and we're really excited about that.
Well, that is great news. And I think there was a tire test at Charlotte this week. Do you guys have any tire tests coming up?
No, we had one last year. In fact, had 2 last year. So Goodyear's trying to spread the love. We felt like they found a nice combination for our track, and we'll go with that again. But every time those cars are on the racetrack, any race facility around the country, they're learning something to make the racing better. So it always benefits us and the race fans when they're out testing, and I think they'll certainly learn some stuff they'll implement here in the near future.
All right, sir. Why don't you update us on ticket sales and how people can go ahead and get their hands on tickets for your event?
Yeah, man, they're going fast. I'll tell you that, and I'm not just being a salesman. I think last year with the throwback and the uniqueness of the event, it certainly has made it one of the 3 or 4 events throughout the year that everybody wants to go to. So if you want tickets to Labor Day and the Bojangles Southern 500, go to darlingtonraceway.com. Best way to get your tickets because you can pick your seat. Everything's on sale now. We're almost still sold out of camping in the infield. Just really excited about the direction. Really proud of our team at Darlington. They've done an incredible job and just honored to be a part of it.
All right, my friend, we thank you. Have a great week. We'll go racing at Phoenix this weekend and talk to you next week.
All right, Phil. Have a good week, my man.
You too, man. Thank you very much. All right, Chip Weil from Darlington, and I'm just checking out a few notes here from the NASCAR scene here, the NASCAR circuit, and boy, this was scary. Hendrick Motorsports plane carrying team members forced to make an emergency landing. This was yesterday morning. Team was coming back from Las Vegas. Plane was diverted to Memphis after smoke in the cabin was noticed. Plane landed safely, evacuated, and everybody was okay. Of course, this sends chills up and down everybody's spine because of the tragedy in the past with Hendrick Motorsports and their planes. So, anyway, that's it. That just had a little smoke in the cabin.
They need a pit crew for the plane.
I'm telling you. All right, coming up, Clemson center Landry Noko, one of the ACC standout defenders this year. Talking about the Tigers in the tournament coming up. Over at Founders Park, USC continues to lead Wofford 1-0 in the top of the third, and Founders wants to remind you that you can hit a home run with Founders Federal Credit Union coming soon to Clemson. Founders Clemson location will be open soon. For now, check out their 4 on-campus ATMs at Clemson and visit Relax. Join founders.com to see if you qualify for membership. Speaking of Clemson, Landry Noko would like to help the Tigers cash a check that takes them through the ACC tournament, hopefully to the NCAA tournament. They got to do a lot of work in D.C. It starts tomorrow night for them against Georgia Tech. He spoke with the media yesterday about the season, the kind of up and down nature the Tigers have had, knowing that they can play well and also play poorly. But he's looking forward to this opportunity in the tournament.
Just confidence, just how hard we've worked, especially going to the game. We just talked about having a good game into the tournament, so just being ready and we feel like we're playing on a good level right now. So it's really just confidence.
You passed Dale Davis for number 5 in Clemson history for blocks. So what does that mean to you?
It means a lot. A lot of great days I think just come to Clemson. Just be part of that list kind of makes me feel better about my game and just how hard I've improved and how hard I worked within the 4 years I've been.
Clemson has often struggled in the ACC tournament. What do you guys have to do to put a little run together?
We just got to play together and just play for each other. I feel like a lot of times we get stuck when different guys try different things at the time. Just coming together and playing hard. I feel like we're going to play at a high level.
You're encouraged that you look at the teams that you've beaten this year and it's kind of proven that you can beat anybody that's in this tournament, but you've also proven that you can lose game 1 of this tournament. Just how inconsistent this team has been.
It's just all the games that we play, we always fought to the end. I really feel like I had a good chance into the tournament just because of how we played in the year. I feel like just playing together and having all the guys come together and we all have the determined spirit that Coach Barnett be talking about all the time, and we can turn some heads around.
You all had a stretch where you won 5 straight ACC games and 3 ranked opponents. What were you doing during that stretch of time that you think really helped you go on that run?
We were just, like I said, we just played for each other. We had a lot of confidence. Guys, level. Putting up that run together, it was really just us being focused and doing what we're supposed to do on the court.
Does it bother you that y'all haven't had success in the ACC tournament? You've been to a lot of have the success that you would like to in the most important tournament?
Yeah, everybody playing. Everybody playing basketball, just win the championship game. All the years that I've been here, we always fail to do that. I feel like this year we got a much better chance to do so. So just got to be prepared.
You mentioned confidence being a factor. How would you assess your team's confidence level going into the tournament?
Just going up to Boston and playing the way that we did. If you watch the game, we didn't really. It's not really anything new that we did. It was just really guys just making plays and we just play the next position every time. I feel like guys are confident in the games and we really believe in each other. We can make a good run.
What do you have to do differently this time around that you didn't do last time?
I'm sorry?
What do you have to do differently this time around that you didn't do last time in Atlanta?
We definitely got to rebound the ball better. Last game, we got to do a better job of knowing personnel and just recognizing when the teams can't hide and trying to take away some of the players, the main players, at a certain time of the game. I trust Coach Barnett to have a good plan for us, so we just got to follow it.
All right, Landry Noko, the Tigers, they need him to hit the boards in a big way. Tigers, when they're rebounding well, getting extra shots, they tend to do well. And Georgia Tech, when they beat Georgia Tech at home, they really D'd them up well in the second half. And when they lost to them in Atlanta, they did not do a good job on the backboards, and there's a big reason why they got beat that particular night in Atlanta. I'm just going back and checking something here. Just wanted to see something here since our buddy Danny, the Duke fan, Danny the Dookie, called us up here a little while ago talking about Duke. Duke can score about 80 points a game, not defending all that well. They're 10th in the league in defense. But what I'm looking for, just to kind of back up what I was saying, if I can put my eyes on it here real quick.
Rebounding,
yeah. Duke is, let's see. Rebounding offensively, 8th. Rebounding margin. That's a good one to look at. Yeah, they're 10th in the league in rebounding margin at 1.3. They do tend to get beat up on the boards quite a bit, and they did the other night against North Carolina. Okay, our final minutes of sports talk on this Tuesday brought to you by South Carolina's 529 College Savings Future Scholar, the smart way to save for a loved one's education. Tax time, a perfect time to invest. Visit futurescholar.com. Future Scholar is administered by the Office of State Treasurer Curtis Loftus. And it's 1-1 USC and Wofford now. The Terriers scratching a run across in the third inning. See how the Terriers got on the board here in the third. USC scored its run in the first, and Wofford scoring in the third. Hirsch, a single to left field for the RBI. So 1-1, Wofford and USC in the third. Back to the phones we go. Oh, by the way, Joe Lunardi, in his new bracket today, he moved South Carolina across the country, basically from Des Moines to Raleigh. Took him from the Midwest to the South Regional. He has the Gamecocks still an 8 seed, now playing Cincinnati in Raleigh, with the winner to get Virginia or Wright State, most likely Virginia, in round 2. All right, quickly, and we will limit the pain here. Cockett, what do you got?
Well, I just wanted to say to you how you doing, Phil, and how's the pro doing. Phil Ford told me, he said, don't be no stranger. Pick up the phone, give him a call sometime. He's doing great. He's going to do the play-by-play, in the ACC against the Tar Heels. Just want to throw a shout-out to you and tell you, don't be a stranger. Welcome to call him anytime you feel like calling, But I want to throw out there,
Are you name-dropping on us here?
No, I'm just saying, I'm talking about, Phil Ford.
Phil Ford. I know who Phil Ford is.
The basketball coach that could do a lot better than Clemson or Carolina basketball coach.
So you want people to know that you have Phil Ford's number and you can call him anytime.
Oh, yes, I do. No doubt about that. He's a good friend of mine.
Yeah.
Very good friend of mine. Nice guy. Real nice guy.
Yeah.
But yeah, that's what I want to say out there to him. You know, he think highly of you. He think you know a lot about sports and everything else. And so when Clemson and China don't win championships,
Phil Ford,
we could call Phil Ford.
He doesn't know me.
Yes, he does know. He spoke to you 1 or 2 times, I think. So, but you know who he is. So
I have introduced myself to him before. Yeah, he is a nice guy.
Yes.
Yeah.
Very nice guy.
All right,
man.
Thank you. Thank you very much. Okay, name dropper. Name dropper. Real quick, let's squeeze in a final call. John up in Union. Welcome in. How are you?
Yes, Union County's fixing to hire a new football coach.
Who?
We don't know. There's 3 candidates.
Who are they?
Okay, we got 3 candidates. Well, which one do you think's best? And which candidate do you think would come to Union County?
You gotta tell me quick. Who are they? Who are they?
You read it in the paper today. It was in there.
Oh, I have to go look at the news. I haven't seen it. I'll talk about it tomorrow night. We got to go. We'll talk about it tomorrow night. Got to see who those 3 are. I did not notice that. Must be the Union
blinking
County
and
paper.
nod.
Maybe so. Hey, thanks for the calls, and have a great night. And we'll see you tomorrow night. Tournament coverage continues here.